I'm not Frank. I am Lewis Probst, the student pastor here at Capital City. I know most of you, and I'm joined today by my friend Crystal and Sarah with the Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association.
Yes.
Yes. Rolls off the tongue just great. So we're glad that you're watching and listening along with us here today. Why don't we just take a moment to share a little bit about each of you, your job title, and then how you are involved with the association. Go ahead.
My name is Crystal Jones, and I started with CMFCAA approximately 3.5 years ago. I started in as a family finder for our extreme recruitment program. And I eventually became a supervisor, and currently I am the direct services supervisor for our agency.
Very good. And how long have you been?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Very good.
All right. I'm Sarah Bayshore, and I'm the Chief Program Officer at CMFCAA. And I've been there for also 3.5 years, and I started also in the Extreme Recruitment 30 Days to Family program as a supervisor, and then moved to Chief Program Officer probably 2 years ago, I guess. And I knew of CMFCA for many years. It's been around for quite some time, but I worked with the Children's Division through the state of Missouri for 13 years prior, and that's how I got to know CMFCAA. So we had partnered with them. They provided a lot of services to the families that we worked with. So I knew of our CEO, Deanna Alonzo, for years, and she had the offer of a supervisor position, and I couldn't resist never worked for a nonprofit, but thought I would give it a chance, took a leap of faith, and came on over. And so it'd be 4 years in November. So
that's awesome. That's great. Well, guys, thanks for joining us here today. You guys are a partner of ours here at the church. We have committed to serving and volunteering and being a part of your initiative here, here locally, but as we'll find out that you guys are involved in many places over many counties. And so why don't you just, for our listeners and for our viewers, can you just maybe, Crystal, share a little bit about Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association, and just what you guys do, why you exist, who are the families that you reach out to, what are some of the services that you provide?
Sure. CMFCAA was established about 12 years ago by our CEO, Deanna Alonzo. She and a few other foster parents in the area seen a need for a support group of sorts for foster families in the area. So they had a support group. They were able to get a small grant to be able to start a program called Begin Again Backpack, and so that was their initial program that they started out of the back of her trunk, her Buick, as she says, and to distribute backpacks to kids that are coming into care, because oftentimes they don't come with anything other than the clothes on their back. So the backpack provides a blanket for the child, some hygiene products, some personal items for the child, for infants, diapers, formula, anything to help out when you receive a kid in the middle of the night. Sometimes you have nothing, and so that backpack is your emergency case to give the child something of their own that they can take with them from that point on. And so that is how CMFCAA started. They ran for approximately 8 years, I would say, before obtaining more grants and bringing in more programs. So the first program that was brought in was family finding, and I'm going to let you take that over because
Sure.
You have been in charge of that more.
So we were able to secure money for extreme recruitment and 30 Days to Family, and that was the purpose of that was to have children go back to their family, their kin, when they enter foster care instead of staying in a stranger foster home. So that was one of the first programs, and then along with that came our family development program, which is really developing families to take foster children in, so they get them licensed ready. And we had, I think, 3 people starting out in that program, and now we have 5, I think, 6 counting the supervisor. So that one's grown tremendously, but family development and all the programs, we cover 13 counties in central Missouri, and they have always covered 13 counties, or at least many years have done so. Our other programs include CCYP, and that's Community Connections Youth Project, and that's for ages 17 to 26. Those are youth aging out of foster care, or young adults who've already aged out but don't have a successful plan, and so we're able to help them find employment and find housing, basic needs sometimes. Just many of them have been homeless that we've helped, so we have that program going on. We also have Kinship Navigator, and that's one of our newer programs, and that also helps with relatives who are taking care of youth. So either through the formal foster care system where they've been removed from a parent and placed with, say, grandma or aunt or uncle, or for those children, and this is very important for people to understand, sometimes grandparents or aunts, uncles, relatives, neighbors, coaches, pastors, they take kids that are not in foster care because they're at risk of child abuse and neglect, or they have experienced some, but not enough to be put into the foster care system. So we support those families. Sometimes they need help because they're only living on their Social Security and they weren't planning to raise a child again. So we are able to help them sign up for like Medicaid or food stamps or things like that. So we support those relative and kin in that program. And then we have our, which other one am I forgetting? Direct Services. That one's Crystals. And Direct Services is what we consider our umbrella of all services. And that one is, it's kind of large and encompassing because it's anything that is directly needed for the foster child, adoptive child, kinship child, and all the families that they're living with. So it could be something tangible, like a backpack. It could be support in just navigating the foster care system or the licensing process and what to do once they have the child in the home, how they keep their license, that kind of thing. So it's many different things that Direct Services do, and I can let Crystal talk about all the wonderful things that Direct Services specifically does because they have events, whereas the other programs are more directly given to the clients or our families, whereas Crystal's program really sets up these large events and holds them so that foster families can like get a break and things. So sure. I'll let her explain those type of things.
I've already talked about the Beginning and Backpack. That is one of our bigger programs. But in addition to that, we also have what we call Odyssey events, which are 4-hour drop-off events where foster parents or kinship parents, any resource family, can drop their children off with us for 4 hours, and we provide some kind of child enrichment for 4 hours so the parents can get a break, go shopping without kids, or take a nap, or whatever they want to do for those 4 hours while they are, kid-free. We try to do fun things that the kids will enjoy, but will also learn at the same time. It's not just a babysitting service. We don't just watch our watches, for 4 hours. We try to fill those 4 hours with lots of enrichment, fun, learning activities. In some counties, we partner with other agencies to be able to do those Odyssey events. For example, in Boone County, we partner with the City of Columbia, the ARC. So on Friday nights, once a month, parents can drop their kids off there at the ARC. We provide a meal for them. We provide some kind of fun activity. Right now we're working with the jazz instructor for jazz dancing, and the kids are learning to dance. And then for the last 2 hours, they get to go and utilize the pool and swim for 2 hours before their parents come and pick them up. So we have Odysseys in 7 out of 13 of our counties. So we try to make sure that all of our Odysseys are within driving range of everybody that we serve. We also are working to reestablish our Roots program, which is an opportunity for parents to come and get their 2 hours worth of training, but also be able to bring their kids, and we will do some kind of child enrichment so that the parents can, focus on the training. When you become a foster parent, to keep your license up to date, you have to have so many hours of training, and so we try to provide that training for them as much as possible. We also provide a meal to the family so that they can eat together before they're split in their different ways. The parents to the training, the kids to their fun event. So we want to make it a family event so that nobody is put out, by these services. We also are a representative for One Simple Wish. So if anybody has like a item that they would need that, wouldn't be something you would typically ask for, we can submit it to One Simple Wish, and somebody, anybody, anywhere can get on One Simple Wish and grant wishes, and so we are a mediator for that. Other programs we have, just tangible items. If a family needs a bed, if they're getting a kid, if they know that they've been told that, they have a kid coming into their home and maybe they don't have enough beds for the entire setup, they can call and talk to us, and we help them get beds, mattresses, and bedclothes, your sheets and your blankets, that kind of thing. There's lots of resources that we provide that way. High chairs, strollers, car seats. We do have car seat technicians within each of our offices. So if somebody needs to, learn how to put a car seat in appropriately, we do have a car seat technician at each of our offices, and soon we will be a check-in station. So where they can come and go through the process of learning at a bigger scale and receive a car seat in return for that. That's not something we have happening right now, but I do know that that is something we have in the works. What did I miss?
There's a lot of different things.
Yeah, drug services is so big. As Sarah was saying, anything where we work directly with the foster families in our communities will fall under the drug service umbrella.
That's awesome.
Falls nicely with our mission of really preventing long-term exposure of foster care to children, and then also just supporting our foster and adoptive parents and making sure everybody knows that it's not just foster care, but once you adopt that child, the services don't stop. The child may be yours, but we're there to continue to support those adoptive families, and they can take advantage of all of our services. So we are working very hard to get the word out and make sure everybody understands all the services that we do have, because we do have a lot. So it, again, used to be just the support groups and the backpacks, and it's grown tremendously in the last just 4 years. We went from, I think, 3 individuals to now 30 in the last 4 years, so 3.5 years. So we've expanded a lot in staff and new programs, and so I think it's, as soon as everybody understands like everything that we do, I'm hoping that more people will take advantage. Well, so it is all free too, as well. So
yeah, and absolutely, and that that would be my best question is, as I'm just sitting here thinking about this, like if I come across a family that's fostering or taking in a child, or is even a family maybe considering adopting, how would they, how can they reach out to you, and then how can we get involved? How can people get involved to volunteer with you guys as well? So how would that work?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to answer both of those is we do have a nice website, and it's mofosteradopt.com. And that one's really easy to navigate. We have different sections depending on what you're looking for. If you want to volunteer, there's a whole section about that. If you want to foster or adopt, if you're just looking for training opportunities or events, educational events or respite events, it's all on there. We're also on Facebook. You can find us Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association. I know it's a really long one, but even if you start getting some of the words right, you'll find us. And so both of those ways is probably the easiest.
Awesome.
Find out more.
Well, that's great. Why I am so glad to speak with you guys, and why we really brought you here is because we specifically have a very exciting project that we have begun together here at the church, and specifically within student ministry. So with all of our families and students, we have committed to volunteer and kind of take on a project that you shared with me. And so I'm going to let you share about that. And obviously I'm super thrilled about it, and I think our listeners will be as well. So,
Sure.
So go ahead and share this project.
Well, being in contact so often with the resource families that we serve, one of the things that we hear quite often is the need for extra clothing for the child. Again, we provide a beginning and backpack that will have an outfit and a pair of pajamas, but obviously a child needs more than that. And foster parents are looking for a way to be able to donate clothes that maybe have been left behind or outgrown by foster children, and be able to obtain more clothes than what necessarily the state voucher will purchase. So we partner with some clothing closets in other parts of our 13 counties, one in Rolla and one in Pulaski, as well as some other small ones. But we do not have a clothing closet that within the 25-mile radius of Jefferson City. So we are currently in the process of opening the trunk, which is a nod back to how CMFCAA started, back out of the trunk of Deanna's car. I approached a local business person in the area about some space, and he was willing to work with us at a very reasonable price. And so we have office space that we are able to use as a clothing closet. The trunk would be a place where resource parents in our community can come and shop for the children that are in their home, as well as donate the clothes that they no longer have, that are still like new condition. It would be of course, absolutely free. There will no money exchange whatsoever, but it's a way to be able to provide those items to people that we're not being able to get to because, of various reasons, just not having that resource as close as what we would like for it to be. So currently at this time, we are revamping the area. Over the weekend, I know that your volunteers came in and painted, did a wonderful job. It's beautiful. And as we start bringing in our hardware and clothing racks, and we'll be able to start taking donations very slowly and very soon, and then be able to open our doors to those families to be able to come in and get the items that they need for their families.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And Crystal, you reached out to me, and as we kind of came through 2020, we all kind of at the church what do we do next? We got kind of in a rut of being in here in the building and putting on our programs, and then all of that halted for us, and I know for me it was good. I think it brought some clarity into how I can serve as a follower of Christ, as a believer in Christ, and how I think spaces like this, opportunities like this, should be our response after this last year. And so for me, I'm like, what could be the best thing for my students coming out of 2020 to do as they grow in their faith? And honestly, I'm just like, we just need to go out and help people. I love doing stuff here at the church. We do a great job, but man, I think sometimes we kind of just get in our lane, in our rut, and there's monster needs, which you guys know about, specifically with that group of people, foster and adopted families, that just go, I think, unheard or unseen. And that's a demographic of people that just gets overlooked. I have done it, and so So when you brought this to me, I swear I was just like, yes, that's it. That is exactly what we need, And so we met with some of our families. We had 90 in attendance, around 90 in attendance in our gymnasium. And we were just pitching this idea of what a closet would look like and how we could be involved. We have a three-way handshake here. We've got a business partner in the community, we've got a nonprofit organization with you guys, and then us as the church providing the labor, of seeing this flesh out. And so for us, I see it as an opportunity for our kids to serve the community, but to do it with their families, to get that experience. And I think it's needed today, and especially after this last year. And so, yes, we're all in. We love it. We're excited about it. That's what I want our students to do. We talk about it every Wednesday night. I have 6th grade girls saying, "When can I start painting?" I mean, it's just. But and the cool thing about that story is, she was adopted, So again, and I even asked, hey, raise your hand do you know what we're talking about? Some of them do because they have been in the foster system, they've been adopted, but some of the other kids, they just, this idea just that there would be needs like this existing, is maybe something they just don't hear, and don't see. And so I think that's good for us to learn how to be Christ, to be Jesus. That's our mission, to actually be Jesus to all people. And so I thank you. I thank you for bringing this stuff, and we're excited about it. We're all in. And I just want to thank you guys for being here today. Sure. Is there anything else did we miss or that you're thinking of before we end our podcast here today?
Just visit our website at mofosteradopt.com and look for us on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
We're very excited to have this partnership. It's very exciting. And I think this will open up, like you said, may not be just a paint job or taking clothes, but it may be connections that your youth have with our families that could make a lasting impression on everyone. So I'm really excited to see how this grows.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for being here today. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening and watching and our podcast. And look forward to seeing you next time.